Just like that, we're live. We're live, Dallas. Were you ready to be live?
Yeah, I love being live. Coming at you live.
I'm always in denial that we're actually live. You know what I mean? It's
Well, I try to bring as much live in my pocket as I possibly can before we even get there.
We'll leave the live in your pocket for now, and let's say hi to Mike Smith and Kyle Wagner and Big Bear. What's happening? Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah, we're into this for 26 seconds already, and nothing crazy's happened.
Well, that's a surprise. I mean, we already got 8 people in here and 3 thumbs up.
Yeah. Oh, it's Joe K. So what is happening, everybody?
It's Wednesday night. Time for your first day of fall Tech Talk Live.
It was beautiful. I spent not the whole day, but I spent a good portion of the day just tooling around on my motorcycle.
Oh, well, I was busy trying not to get flooded. It was a bit rough out of my place. I don't know how it was here. Did you guys get a lot of rain?
Yeah, I was riding in the rain. I didn't really care. It was like I just wanted to ride.
Oh.
The bike got filthy, man. It's just like,
yeah.
Oh, it was filthy. It took me like a half hour to pressure wash it. Joe K, B3 Blue Mike.
Yeah. We're trying to try to spray paint this thing some other color. I don't know. It literally was $40 cheaper and the same functionality as the other ones.
You keep saying that.
I know. I just thought it was stupid to buy a black mic.
I would have given you the $40, man. I would have given you the $40. You could have said, Tony, I need $40.
I honestly didn't care if the thing was shaped like a dildo.
It is. It is. Mike Smith was afraid he wasn't going to be first, but bro, no, there you are. But Fubar is here, and this is now I feel relaxed. Now I can be live.
I know we can get rid of all the haters here in a few minutes.
Haters? We have haters?
No, I doubt it.
Oh no.
Oh, Mopar Man 1978 out working on my D150 short bed.
John Wilburn. I would have given you $40.
All right, look what you did, John Wilburn.
Mike Smith.
Jeff Bezos rocket.
All right, guys, enough with the mic. Oh, God. All right.
Well, can you hear us at least?
Yes.
He likes when you guys are busting my balls about this microphone. No, this is not an Auburn hat. This says American Hot Rod Association. It's my new hats.
Look, it's Uncle Kathy lurking in the shadows. Come here and say hi.
Are you okay?
Yeah, come here. People want to see you. They want.
Look, there you go.
You're a big celebrity.
Right here.
They can't see you. You have to come around. You have to come around. Yeah, we have to walk around it.
I'm not a celebrity.
You're a celebrity, please. Are you kidding me? Terrence Seymour only came here to see you. There she is, Uncle Kathy in the flesh.
What's up, guys? I'm fixing up your GoPro.
Yeah.
Sure
we got a GoPro today. She got the full hat GoPro.
Did you buy the cheaper one that had like all the the gay looking stuff on it?
No. We spent for the extra $40 and actually got the manly GoPro.
One, yeah.
Right. So there's the link to AHRA merch where you could buy hats or t-shirts.
I actually haven't got my new hats up there. We just got our new t-shirts in. You know, the supply chain shit is like unreal.
I know, that's why I've been buying t-shirts. Like they're going out of style.
It's unreal.
Long sleeve.
Oh yeah, look at this.
I saw a commercial for that today.
Look at this. We've expanded our product line, right? We're gonna have long sleeve shirts. So I don't know who the hell wears a long sleeve shirt.
Welders.
Everybody.
Welders.
I'm a welder. I don't wear a long sleeve shirt.
Yes, you do. You have long sleeve shirts.
When did you see? When was the last time I wore a long sleeve shirt?
You wear those thermal ones. Yeah, you do.
Well,
when it's 4 degrees.
I saw you wearing those long sleeve shirts when you were in here with the microphone by yourself.
When?
Well, I don't know. It was just a couple days ago.
I
Makes me question.
he's overcompensating for his mic. I would have given you the $40, man. Here. All right, so yeah.
Oh, that's it. I gotta jack my truck up to the
moon. We got
moon.
these in the store now too. Uncle Kathy hand makes each one of those things.
Handmade.
Yeah, she weaves the shirts together. I mean, it's incredible. She
agree.
grows the cotton, you know, and she every step of the way. Right.
Well,
Just my granddaughters are out there picking the cotton.
I was gonna say, I thought there was child slavery involved.
Yeah, of course, there's always child slave labor involved. Anything worthwhile has child slave labor involved.
Diole says he needs a sleeveless shirt.
You need a sleeveless shirt? Oh man, we can cut the sleeves off it, no problem. We have that kind of technology here available at Uncle Tony's Garage.
Oh, Abel D's asking, can you sign the shirts?
Oh man, I don't want to. Dallas can sign the shirts. Can you forge my signature?
I'll figure it out.
Yeah, Dallas will sign the shirts.
Now that you have a bike, wear the Ponch and John of YouTube.
Yeah.
What was his favorite thing? Like this, like. Poncherello would try to he had like a fake, or it wasn't a fake hair piece, but he could move his head like it was fake.
That's an interesting. Kevin is saying the parts thing is so bad now I can't even find a rear main seal for a 400 small block Chevy. Crazy stuff,
That's
right?
Probably pretty bad.
No, seriously, like things like that. Like you would say, well, you know, you should be able to go to Walmart and pick up a small, small block Chevy rear seal. Nope.
Yeah, I've been having a heck of a time just getting new merch, and it's killing me.
Well, that's like I said, we've been buying up all the shirts we can get our hands on. Stockpiling because
buying in bulk.
We're buying in bulk. Let's see.
Thrashman on Fun Riffs asked if I play guitar. No, I do not.
Oh, you're modest.
I've never ever played it in my life.
He toured with Zeppelin back in '77.
I was a roadie for Metallica.
And it was a roadie for Metallica, right? Trashman O'Funners, is there such a thing as a 318 police interceptor? Yeah. Because I think my boss at Mickey D is exaggerated when he sold me a 72 Demon for $200. The 4-barrel 318, what was it? The E58, I think it was. I don't even know what the designation was. But yeah, that would have been, a police interceptor for what it's worth.
Kevin's saying Felpro was bought out.
Was it?
I don't know. That's news to me, but that's kind of exciting news. That should probably be shared if it was. I know when Edelbrock got bought out by Comp, everything went haywire for a while for those guys. I don't even know if they still got it going yet.
Everybody's buying out everybody else, and nothing is getting any better.
Well, you know why? When shit's low, it's time to buy, right? And that's what's happening. People are buying.
Abel D, what parts do you think we should hoard during these uncertain times?
Oh, man.
That's a really good question, and I think the subject for a video, like at least one video. But I can tell you right now that I've been overbuying oil.
Ignition
parts.
Carburetors, any kind of them.
Really, he's right. And gasket sets, like you can't get a rear main seal for a small block Chevy. What kind of world do we live in where you can't get a rear main seal for a small block Chevy?
That means everything else is out. It's got to be out.
Right. Ratty Repair says he had to go to 4 stores just to get the things to do a third member change. Yeah, I'm telling you. Fuel pumps.
Yeah, you can definitely make do with an electric there, but mechanical fuel pumps, if that's your thing, go hoard them suckers. The things that I found that are very interesting to hoard that nobody can find, exhaust manifolds, because everybody, what did they do? They too took them off, threw them in the trash, put a set of headers on, right? So if you got a set of exhaust manifolds, you are really on top of the world. For especially the older guys that want to go back to exhaust manifolds because they cared nothing less about changing header gaskets.
Let's see.
Jason Fitch says carbs have doubled in price since the last time I bought one.
But yeah, I mean carburetors and carburetor parts, gaskets and whatnot. Needle and seat assemblies, because that's the thing that usually goes bad, right? Needle and seat assemblies.
Oh, Carl Spackler is saying, what do you guys think of a Summit Carbs? Looking at a 750 vacuum secondary for the 347 F100 build.
Okay, I didn't like them. Okay, seriously, right? Because I wasn't familiar with them. I have one. I had one. I lent it to a buddy of mine. I'll get it back eventually. It is a fantastic car. We did a back-to-back on a small block moped. We did a back-to-back with a 600 Edelbrock and a 600 Summit. And the 600 Summit was 4/10 quicker. It's just an overall better carburetor. The Summit is the Harley version of the Autolite. So it started out as the Autolite 4100 and 4100 for the small one, and I forgot what the larger one was, what the designation was. Then Harley bought the design in sometime in the 1970s, and they changed they put a traditional Harley style accelerator pump on it and something else. I forgot what else they did. Oh, the floor bolts. Then Harley discontinued it. Summit bought it, and now Summit produces it in the Harley updated version. And I'm telling you, you will not be disappointed with that carburetor. They're the best bang for the buck out there for carburetors.
So I saw something interesting on here, right here. Google Garage is saying in April, Tenneco announced plans to purchase Federal Mogul for $5.4 billion. Right?
Okay.
And he's saying today the Tenneco Federal Mogul acquisition is complete. So everything Federal Mogul is now, doesn't that include Speed Pro?
Yeah.
And then is that
Seal
pistons
power.
and all that jazz? Oh yeah, it is sealed
power.
power. Yeah. Well, it's sealed power and Speed Pro, isn't it? Isn't both of them the
I
same?
believe so.
But then Tedesco 455 is saying Phil Pro was last acquired in 1998. I don't know what's going on with these. I'm sure it's something that I want to get all over. And I know I saw you using those Autolite plugs in the Plan Z. But remember when we did the tech video and you side gapped the plug and the freaking ceramic fell out of it?
Yep.
That was today's Autolites, right? And I haven't touched them since.
Cobra Jet says the 4100 is the best carb on the planet. They're worth every dime. 2100 second choice. And Claremont Classic Garage is saying the Autolite 4100 is one of my all-time favorite carbs. I'm telling you, I didn't like it because I was prejudiced against it. And I don't know why I was prejudiced against it. I swear to God, it was one of those things. It was one of unrational things. Right? I looked at it and says, "Nah, it's inferior." Okay, and I don't know why. Right? It was like I prejudged it. I was dead wrong. It is a fantastic carburetor.
Well, here's what's interesting. Molly Cleavite bought Philpro.
Okay.
That's what Kevin's saying. News to me. I haven't heard anything about it, but I do know that the supply chain thing is just a freaking fiasco that everybody could do without.
Well, Mitt made most of saying, anybody remember when parts companies were not owned by multiple investors and actually made good parts? Can't believe we can't legitimately say that now. It's the truth. It's these investment companies buy up everything and the quality right down the toilet.
Especially the aftermarket stuff. Remember, like I do remember in the 90s, Mr. Gasket was the first ones I seen kind of go El Cheapo, Taiwanese, like low grades, you know, quality stuff. I'd give my left arm for those days back because now everybody is that same situation. You can't get damn near anything.
Joe Hoard is spinning in his grave.
Oh, for sure, because it's definitely not what he envisioned from the beginning. You know. Yeah, NGK plugs. That's the only ones I use anymore. I did go to the parts store. Here's something that's interesting. I went to the parts store to get. You remember we thought my Suburban might have like a misfiring plug or a dying plug or something. Okay, so I went and bought a set of plugs. Well, I went there with the intentions of buying a set of plugs. Like everything, hey, we got to order those. It's going to take 4 to 6 days. Okay, great. Well, what do you got that's on the shelf? And they said, well, we got these Ford Motorcraft plugs. And I said, Ford Motorcraft plugs for my Buick motor, my Suburban. Okay, well, this is getting very funky, right?
It's a peanut plug. It's a 14 millimeter peanut plug.
For sure. But then I started thinking, well, damn, I got a set of double platinums that have been sitting in a box that were literally in a glove box of my white truck when I bought it.
Okay.
Right? And so they drag these Motorcrafts out, and the girl's like, it's $28 or whatever for that set of Motorcrafts. And I'm like, hey, can you see what they fit? And she's like, sure. So she looks, 351 Windsor. And I'm like, 351 Windsor, 460, 302. And I'm like, okay, well, I got a set of double platinum Autolites. They're for 351 Windsor. I think I'll just leave these here and I'll use my double platinums, right? And I put them in, made no difference whatsoever. And I pulled those plugs and they were like burnt marshmallow. They were good.
Somebody's talking about the Holly spark plugs. Yeah, Dino LeBreton. I have 2 new full boxes of Holly spark plugs. It's Holly plug. Yeah, I remember when they make those for. Actually, if I'm not mistaken, they were making header plugs.
The short ones.
Yeah, the shorties. It'd stick in there for like the which I forgot which engines.
Small block Chevrolet. Oh, and Ford GT40P headed Windsors.
Right.
But here's something that was interesting. I used to use Champions on my 69 Dodge 383, but those plugs fouled very easy. And I think, and then somebody was saying AC Delcos were good, and then has that changed? Ruckworts one is saying that. I haven't touched anything from AC Delco for a while because I ordered a starter from them for my Suburban, and it came in. It was an AC Delco in a box, made in China, and I'm like, I'll pass. And I cobbled together a 50-year-old starter. I have leftover parts, and it's been doing me fine since.
The Champion plugs. Now I remember, I'm going to say back as early as like the middle 1980s, the quality of Champion plugs started going downhill. The difference, what I found way back then with Champion plugs is once they fouled, they never came back. So if you had something that you cranked a little too long, or you pumped a little too much gas into it and it wouldn't start, nothing would revive. You'd always have at least 1 or 2 dead Champions, and there was nothing to bring them back. But you didn't have that problem with the other ones. My Autolite my Autolite. I started leaning into those when I started messing with the fuel cars, because those were the only plugs that would hold up. We tried NGKs, we tried all different types of plugs, but the Autolites, straight out of the box, over the counter Autolites, were and we used Autolite 50s on those, but you can get them at any auto parts store.
So I just found something kind of interesting yesterday on Rock Auto. I've been using these funky small oil filters from Bosch for my Buick for my Buick powered Suburban, because the frame rail is right there where the oil pump's at, right? So it's hard to get the oil filter on and off. And they have a fairly small one. Well, I went in to order one. They're like $16 or something, expensive. And I decided to look them up. And of course, they're a couple bucks cheaper on Rock Auto.
Okay.
But then I noticed their clearance, the same filter, it's just a Distance Plus, which has like longer filtration. But they're $4, right, for the Distance Plus filters. So I'm like, I don't know. I'm like, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm looking to see where their max limit is at.
Right.
And I get up to 20. I'm like, I can't afford to buy anymore. I could get all 20 of them.
If anything you can get a deal on, like he's saying, anything that you could get, like, $4 a filter, knock yourself out. Get as many of them as you can afford and stick them on the shelf.
You're going to use them anyway. The new Chode XP mic is sounding great, huh? What is blowing up my phone? All right.
Mad Sexy, Uncle Tony's Garage, for you and guests. GM 386. I've always used standard Autolite and never had an issue. Tried them E3s and ran like crap. What other would you recommend? 1969 truck 286 4-barrel. None. Either the AC Delcos or the Autolites will get you down the road. Those E3s, man, that's just that gimmick with the multiple ground straps goes back to literally like the Model T.
Right. Well, there was plugs running around in the 80s. Didn't they have the circle?
Oh,
it was a ground strap with like a washer welded on the end.
Yeah, it was also they've done everything under the sun. Hollywood. Uncle Tony, watched your performance tuning video. You trust a 40-plus-year-old harmonic balancer to set the timing. Well, I mean, that depends. I mean, generally, I'll check if it's a performance engine. I'll always check and make sure that the marker is in phase before I do anything else with it. Top dead center of the cylinder and make sure that the timing marker lines up. Aviation plugs have multi-tips. Yeah, but there's no. I'm telling you, man, there's no benefit. There's no benefit.
Okay. Daniel Sanchez, MD. Hey, Tony, about a 350 Buick. Is it possible to use solid lifters stock with a hydraulic cam probably with a different lash.
Oh.
Okay, so the Buick's kind of odd. You can use solid lifters, solid flat tappet lifters with a hydraulic flat tappet cam. Okay, that's not really an issue. The issue is going to be the Buick is not adjustable rocker arm, or it's not an adjustable valve train. So you're going to have to get adjustable push rods for that 350 Buick to lash them properly. That's the only problem you're going to have. And TA Performance has adjustable push rods, or you can buy a set of aftermarket roll rockers that are like $900.
This is your captain speaking. He says he likes gimmick plugs. Go Garage. Thank you, man. Showing love and support.
Sweet.
Yes, you're awesome. And you are now monetizable.
I am. The AHRA Drag Racing History channel is monetized finally.
Yeah. So Dallas is actually a professional YouTuber now.
I wouldn't say that. I'm still just a YouTuber, but I'm me.
Well, we can start doing lives on your channel. And that's that super chat scuttles, baby. That can end up in your pocket now.
Oh, man. Well, it sounds good to me.
Just like what Dimitri Patekos sent us here. Thank you, sir. Hey, guys, working on the Dodge D150, 87 with 360, 5.9. And she's losing coolant. Can I send a pic of the overflow tank? I don't know if it's okay. You can send me a picture of the overflow tank, but I don't know what the hell you want me to tell from it.
Oh, let's see. Cobra Jet is saying, heads up. Sega is in Knoxville this Saturday. They need a 63 Buick in the mix. Oh, that'll be a little while before I get down there.
Oh, you mean you can't flog that car together between now and
Man, I got to make an oil pan. I got to make the headers. I'll tell you what. You can tell this car had nothing bigger than a 215 in mind, period. Because the 350 Buick, which virtually is almost the same dimensions as the V6, right? In a Regal, you open the hood, it's like plenty of room in there, right? You put it in this car, it literally looks like the biggest motor in the smallest car, the muscle car, like to the extreme.
Let's see. Roller all things, not messing with flat tappet anymore. I'm with you. Where it's possible, where it's practical, where it's affordable. Yeah, man. Flat tappet, a roller is definitely the way to go.
Okay, Joe K saying, don't know if this would be more of a dyno question or a drag race question, but optimal RPM to shift gears that would be as soon as the power curve starts to drop off? Question mark.
Well, I mean, you want to make sure that the engine lands in the meat of the power curve. So it's not so much where you don't shift to for the top of the shift. You shift for the bottom of the shift. So, and honestly, it's all seat of the pants. You know, you take your car out and you see how it reacts, what it reacts to. You know what I mean?
That's better done on the drag strip.
Better done on the drag strip. When I had my Mustang, I was racing the Mustang. I found that the first to second gear shift, I had to drop. If I dropped 500 RPM on every shift, that's when I got the best times out of the car. So I would shift first to second at 5,500. Second and third at 5,000, and I would short shift third to fourth at 4,500, and that's where I got my best mile an hour with that car. So they're all different. You can't just pick one RPM and say, well, one method and say in blanket say yes, that's the way, because that car was unusual that way. You know, where I had to drop 500 RPM on every shift. Other cars I've had, you know, you shift a valve float, and you know what I'm saying. So it's really seat of the pants, and you just got to go out and make runs with the car.
It's all right in the power band. So that's what you're shooting for. Is like he's saying, it's the next gear, bottom end of the shift.
Right. Yeah. Right. Don't worry so much about where the peak is. Worry about where you land. You know, and ideally you want to land right there. You know, at the meat of your. Okay, Mr. Will, $10. Thank you, man. UTD. UD. Yeah. I researched the cheap Cutlass route after you guys said my low mile 442 shouldn't be a daily. Really, seriously. That should be in the Smithsonian. Cheap ones are too far gone. Nice ones were almost as much as I paid for my 442, either junk or jewel. Yeah.
That one, it's starting to get to that point with the G bodies, which is hard to believe because I remember when they were everywhere and you could pick them up for like $100. And I'm sure that's the way your Mopar lifestyle went in the 70s, right? Or early 80s.
Well,
Oh, right. Let's see. Curtis Randolph is asking, how are 383 Commando and Super Commando engines different from standard 383? Neighbor says he has
Super
SC.
Commando short block for sale.
Oh,
Commando was just a big block.
that was just the name of them, right?
Yeah.
Like the 360 Commando,
Yeah, the
361.
Super Commando is the same as a Magnum. Okay, and your differences there were compression ratio. The Magnums and the Super Commandos were 10-1. They were all 4-barrel engines. They had the same camshaft profile as the 2-barrel motors, but they came with double springs. You know, they had the spring with the damper, and they had a windage tray and the HP exhaust manifolds. So that's what that is.
Yeah. Harley Hawk 1 is saying stock car racing ruined G bodies, such a waste. And I know that's what they're still running today.
Yeah.
And I've seen guys buy pristine ones and cut them all up. And you're like, are you serious? You just cut up a T-type Buick? Like, you're like, okay. So there's a lot of things that people don't know, like G-body. You had the Grand National, of course, but then you had its other brother that was like a brother from another mother, right? Was literally the Grand National in any color Buick offered, right? So you could get the same treatment as the Grand National, or you could get they have some colors that's like rosewood, like a pink, right? You could have got a rosewood
Yeah, I
T-type.
remember that. Yeah.
But there was about a zillion Grand Nationals made and 500 or 600, you know, but like what I'm kind of exaggerating it, but there's not many T-types compared to the Grand Nationals. And those should be worth more, in my opinion, because there's so few of
them. Dan King. I have a question. Should I sell my left kidney or my right one to buy a 69 Charger? Neither, man. Neither. Those, oh God. See, you younger guys, well, speaking as an old timer, you younger guys can't imagine how completely worthless 68, 69, 70 Chargers were back in the 70s. Nobody wanted them. I mean, like, nobody wanted them. If you had one, you were looked down upon because they were heavy. They were considered to be like heavy, pretentious types of cars where like people wanted Roadrunners, they wanted Super Bs, they wanted the more stripped down. Right? Most of the Chargers that were out there, the second generation Chargers, they had 318 2-barrels or 383 2-barrels. They had air conditioning and power steering, power brakes. They had all of that stuff. And muscle car guys, performance guys didn't want them. They were worthless. We bought, hey, Kat, what do we pay for that 69 500? Do you remember?
Oh, it was a 500. Those are good looking cars.
Yeah, we paid $300 for a 69 500 and like drove it around for a while. And I think ended up junking it because they were literally worthless in like 1980, 1981, 1982. It wasn't until like after the Dukes of Hazzard era, right?
When they started really gaining some
steam.
like
the middle 80s, the later 80s that they started to become popular. But if you go back to the late 70s and very early 80s, nobody wanted those.
That cars. Was literally all the B bodies at that time started getting famous from that. So Tedesco 455 asked a question. This is one of my favorite things is like finding parts that are awesome on other vehicles that you can use anywhere else, right? So Tedesco 455 asked me, Dallas, what's the story on the 90s LT1 starter that works nicely on the Buick 455 and 350? Okay, so the LT1 came out, and it was a high compression version of the small block Chevrolet with different, all it did was had different water flow characteristics. That was a smoky unit thing where you're cooling the head first and then the block, right? Isn't that how it worked? I think it was the head first and then the block.
Yeah.
And it was reversed from a regular Chevrolet, which normally cooled the block and then the heads. So when they came out with it, what they did is they used a crossbolt style starter. And the crossbolt style starter was generally a Buick thing. You could get them on some Chevrolets because some Chevrolets were drilled for both.
Mm-hmm.
But majority of the time, the Chevrolet had the diagonal bolts on the starter. And then they normally have a supporter or a supporting structure on the end of the starter for a high torque starter, so you didn't break the nose cones.
Well, remember the crossbolt starter like that was there so that you could shim them.
Right. Well, in the straight one, the straight across are shimmed as well.
That's what I'm saying. The straight across ones.
Oh yeah, right. And those were available on the LT1s only. Okay, but the motor was 10 1/4 to 1 compression, or 10 1/2. Either way, it's still high compression for a small block Chevrolet. But they're also a gear reduction starter, so they're a smaller starter. The package is probably 3/4 of what a regular starter for a Buick is. The neat thing is it's a metric bolt with standard threads, and there's a lot of guys going and buying them on eBay, and you buy them at the parts store, but those are Chinese. I go to the junkyard and I score myself a GM one,
Right.
and I take it right to an auto electric place and have it rebuilt. And then for like $65, I got a super high torque gear reduction starter for a Buick.
Go Garage. You rode Street Racing the Apple? Yeah. That was like one of the first magazine things I ever did back in '85. I think it was '84, '85. Why is it? I was just watching a YouTube video last night. I don't remember what it was, and this thought actually having to do with the starters popped into my head.
Oh, all right.
Why is it that nobody ever shims the starters on a frickin' Pontiac?
They're on the other side of the motor. I don't know. Have
you ever noticed that?
What? No. I figured out a good way to shim them.
Right.
But I had a Chevrolet. It was a pretty awesome motor. It was a 4-bolt main 350 Chevy. Like typical anything Chevrolet, but it was a steel crank motor, and it had all been machined, and I got it for a song. I went to bolt the starter up, and I found out why I got it for a song. They'd fucked up the hole where the starter bolt's on.
Okay.
Well, when you screw up the starter relation to the motor, good luck getting it started without chewing up the starters.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
So I ended up drilling it out at a different angle, and then helicoiling it, and then put a bolt in there, and I got it to work. The only downside was that starter was just a little off center. So the rule of thumb used to be 30 thousandths shim, right? Like, and what I mean by shim is I take the solenoid off, I engage the Bendix with my fingers,
Okay.
and you push the gear, the gears mesh together then at that point.
Right.
What you do in between them, you fish a paper clip in there. Are you familiar with that? Have you seen those before? Somebody do a paper clip in between.
I've never done that.
It used a paper clip, and it's perfect. It sounds like brand new GM when you start it up.
Well, if you notice, right, and I defy somebody to find me a YouTube video of a Pontiac engine being started where you don't hear the Bendix mashing into the. It's got, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It seems like every single Pontiac you hear ever start, you can always tell, oh, yeah, that's Pontiac because they didn't shim the damn starter.
Terry CH, wait a minute. Will that mini starter fit a Cadillac 472 500? If it's straight across, I would go out on a limb and say probably.
That's a universal bolt powder.
The straight across?
Yeah.
And I would just compare the nose cones. That's the GMs. What was neat about them is the Buick guys always used to take the high torque Chevrolets and just swap the nose cones on them, right? That was the easiest way to do it. But now with that LT1 starter, you might hold it up there and the nose cone's the same. I would definitely, it's 100% worth a try because that starter is badass compared to the older ones.
James M says the only motor I've ever had to shim a starter is a Pontiac. No, seriously, right? Just go to a random YouTube video, random like GTO startup or something like that, and listen to them. You know what I mean? It's like you can hear it's just.
Or especially when they don't fire off the first hit, it's like,
yeah. Carl Spackler, you still run points ignition, and if you do, what RPM would be the max? It depends on the points. I have like for instance, one of the dual points that I use has it's a Mallory, or it's an Axle, and it was intended for Pro Stock and Comp Eliminator, and it actually has a bearing plate. So you've got the breaker plate, okay, with the two sets of points, and then above the breaker plate is another bearing plate to hold it stable, right? And then you've got the rotor. And that setup right there is supposedly good to 11,000 RPM. So, I mean, what is the max? I find that on, let's say, stock set of Chrysler points with a stock single point ignition, generally speaking, 5,800, 6,000 RPM. But then again, you on that type of car, you're not really going to be spinning it or making any power beyond that anyway. So
Terry C says he put a 231 starter on his 472. So that means it probably will work.
But it isn't happy.
Yeah, that 472 is probably a lot more to turn over than that 231. So it's double the motor. So yeah, try out that LT1 starter. I bet you it'll work fine.
Hi, Andy Woodpopton. What's going on, Andy? How are you, brother?
Mark Shaw says, will a factory starter start a 12-to-1 compression big block Mopar? And Mopars were always gear reduction, right?
Yeah.
So they were already good to go from the beginning.
Yeah, you shouldn't have any problem. Let's see. 64. Pentastar 64 Chrysler 361. Like to get about 450 horsepower? No. You're not going to do that with a 361 and have a happy motor.
You could do it with probably a 400, right?
Oh, yeah, a 383 or 400, but the 361 just doesn't have enough bore.
I'm sure the bore is small on it.
Yeah.
428 Marauder or Cobra Jet was never a Cleveland. It's an FE engine family. Yep. I don't know who was saying Cleveland.
Let's see. Hank Reardon. I was in the parts business for 15 years. The only plugs I could ever sell and not be ashamed of in the last decade are Denso and NGK.
He said ashamed.
Yeah, I know, but he's listen. That's a guy who's on the front line of this.
Well, that's funny because he's probably like, oh, you mean you want the champions? All right, here you go.
But I mean,
like, could you imagine that guy seems defeated at the parts store at the counter? You know,
but Nippon Denso's always made extremely high quality stuff. So I mean, I wouldn't see any reason why not. Pencils. How far can I bore at a 361? Your standard overbore on all big and small block Chryslers from that classic era, so from the 60s and the 70s, is 60 over. So yeah, don't waste your time with it. Don't waste your time with it. Get yourself a 383 block. That's besides the point. You have a hell of a hard time finding pistons for that.
There's probably only one place, like Edge.
I don't even know. It's yeah. You're gonna spend a fortune. You're gonna spend a fortune on pistons.
On
Get
cast
it for
pistons.
300 or 400. Right.
On cast garbage.
Ready repair. Thank you. Edelbrock Street Master 318 any good? I have one on a mild 318. And I'm just not sure. Yes, they're excellent manifolds. Excellent manifolds.
Hank Reardon's asking, is the Engine Tech stuff sold by Rock Auto any good?
It's hit and miss. I can't. Have you ever used any of it?
No, I have not. I usually stick to the mainstream stuff that you know is like top notch, right?
I mean, I occasionally order stuff from Rock Auto. I can't remember having a problem with any of it, but I don't really do enough. Like it's not like I'm a commercial shop that I'm ordering parts and cycling through parts every day. So my experience with stuff like that isn't really representative. You know, I haven't had any problem with any of it.
Zero was here. Did he just get here?
Zero is always here.
He's been here since we started.
Zero is here. He's within this. He's
or maybe
without
he left.
this. He's he's just it is.
He's actually in the fourth dimension where time doesn't matter. It's all the same time, right?
At all. Time, space, or dimension means nothing to Zero.
Let's see. Dankin says, "Do you think there's a market to sell my stock 65 300 Buick with 2-speed switch pitch?" To afford a new motor? Maybe I'm itching for more power, and this engine just doesn't seem like it's the answer. Okay, well, the 300 is actually small, so that's what your V6 Buick is made from, really. And okay, so yes and no. If it's a 4-barrel version of the 300 motor, that's the power pack version. They only offered it in 2 years, 64 and 65. A 64 4-barrel intake manifold is aluminum as well as the heads, and they're selling for about $600 right now. The 65 300 was cast iron but has the big port heads. Those are selling for about $650, but they're both few and far between because most of them are 2 barrels. Now, the 2-speed switch pitch itself is not desirable, but the torque converter in that 2-speed switch pitch is very desirable for the guys that have a switch pitch turbo 400, because you can put that turbo 400, or you can put that in a turbo 400. It'll have higher stall than a stock turbo 400 switch pitch converter because it's a 12-inch instead of a 13-inch. So I hope that answers your questions. You should be able to flip them for decent money to start something.
Carl Spacker, you guys ever hog out heads in the early days and make them run worse? I'm guilty. We're all guilty of that.
I think everybody is, right?
You only learn how to port heads after you've like failed miserably. You know what I mean? Yeah, of course. We've all hogged them out and just like the thing just falls on its face. Or it'll make power for like, it'll make power from like 5,800 to 6,100 RPM. That's it. Boom, right there. Yeah, we've all done that.
Jason's Garage says he's digging the Blue Yeti. Do you think that's sarcasm?
Yeah, I believe it is. I believe it is. I would have given you the $40. Michael Williams, we had a 289 powered Pinto. We made time runs on old auto lights, swapped in new champions. Second run was 3/10. Put old auto lights back in. Third run, 3/10 came back. Never ran champions in anything. Right? I know.
Fab Race Mon Repeat says hello from Northeast Dragway. And that he always comes up here and says that. That's Chris Cox from Northeast.
Okay. What's going on, Chris?
But we got a race there this weekend. It's like the last one out there. And we've had 3 or 4 rainouts out there this
And
year.
where is this?
Northeast Dragway in Hertford, North Carolina.
And that's where you're heading this weekend.
Yeah, and so we've piled all the performance-based payout into essentially 3 classes.
Now, if you're anywhere near, what town is it in?
Hertford, North Carolina.
If you're anywhere near Hertford, North Carolina, this weekend, Dallas will be there and he'll have a Sharpie and he will autograph your Winky.
Yeah, just as long as it's the same color blue as the Winky microphone.
So yeah, go to Northeast Dragway and get your Winky autographed. Olive says she used to swear by Bosch Platinums and almost everything, but yeah, no more. They let me down. Yeah, I'm telling you. Yeah, that's why I've had some Autolite issues now. Like I did a video where I side gapped an Autolite plug and the ceramic fell off of it, so they're not made the way they used to be. But I'm not having real issues with them, so I'm keeping at it.
Everybody's asking about the AC Delco. I think, like I said at the beginning of the show, I believe everything AC Delco is now made in China.
Tanner Stafchik. Tony, where are you finding your Mopar Blue engine paint? Haven't been able to acquire any for about 2 years. Oh, God.
Can you use this paint?
No, I can't
use
use
the
that.
same color?
No, it's not the same color. It's okay on an engine. It's just weird
on a microphone.
On a microphone. So I would have given you the $40, bro. What were we just talking about?
Where do you find your blue engine paint?
Oh, the blue engine paint. God, I think the last couple of cans I bought was over at Advanced Auto Parts. I got it up on the shelf.
All right. So Abel D says, Uncle Tony and Dallas, thoughts on JB Weld?
It's every tinkerer's best friend. I've always got a couple of tubes of it kicking around.
I have the industrial size tubes. I moved on from the small ones to the large one, and I use it for a lot of stuff.
The thing about JB Weld is that you never know when you're going to need JB Weld.
And you don't even know where you're going to use it.
Right.
Like I've used it on body panels. I've used it on interior pieces and brackets. Oh, man, I've used it on all kinds of crap.
Yep. If you're porting small block Mopar stuff, you always run into the exhaust tube. Please. Yeah. So, and with that, you just take a piece of like aluminum, like a piece of Coke can, right? Snip it out, JB weld it over your hole, and that's it. You'll never think about it again. So yeah, JB Weld is one of those things. On the Plan Z motor, I ground through. I was trying to take weight off the casting, off the head, and I ground through a water jacket on the outside. Okay, so I was like, oh, I got to do it this. So I said, oh, well, I'll weld it up, right? So I welded a patch over it, and it made it even worse. It just sprinkled water. So what I ended up doing was I took the head off, and I stood it on end, and I mixed up a big batch of JB Weld, and I fed it into the water jacket, right? And then I scooped it into the water jacket, and then I took a torch. I took a MAP gas torch, and I heated the head. And when you heat JB Weld, it liquefies. It becomes like water, right? So, and I did that, and it fit into all of the pores and stuff inside the metal, and I just let it sit for 24 hours and cure. Perfect, brand new.
Well, Harry Australia says there's JB Weld in the COVID vaccine.
Probably is. I wouldn't be surprised even in the slightest bit.
Well, you know what's ironic? You remember the 300 I was doing? They had those aluminum Mondello heads.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you saw how much welding I had done on them, where they had to weld up the extra bolt hole in the water jackets. So when I finally got them done, the guy pressure tested them. He's like, "Hey, man, I got some bad news for you." I'm thinking, well, shit, he probably put 20 pounds of aluminum back in these heads, right? So I'm sure there's going to be some kind of problem. He said, inside the runner, I can't get my my welder in there, but it looks like Joe Mondello might have got into the water in this one runner.
Okay.
And he showed me and circled it, and then I had to get it with a magnifying glass, and it was literally on the short turn radius, right? And it looks like it maybe just was like a pore.
Okay.
So I got in there with a file, I ground it out a bit, filled it in with some JB Weld, flattened her out. Man, did it look smooth, but it was in there. But I don't know how long they last on like cylinder heads. You know, on the intake side, on exhaust side, it'd probably be gone in a matter of minutes.
Yeah, no, not on the exhaust, but on the inside, I've done it a bunch of times. I've never had a problem. Derek drives Dodge. Tony, any issues with running an aluminum case 833 in a generic street rod application, or should I hold? No, use
Perfect.
it.
Yeah,
use it. They get a bum rap because in high gear you're using third. High gear is third, right? Fourth is the overdrive, and the claim is that the case starts to get wallered out because of the unusual leverage that's on it. But I tell you the truth, I've never seen that happen. Not to say it's not possible, but I've never seen it happen.
JB Weld is the best. I did tree work. This is Paul Shea. He's saying JB Weld is the best. I did tree work and would see chainsaws hit the road at 60 feet, blow up to pieces. Fixed like new with JB Weld for years.
You have to use it in the right application. You know what I mean? Like if you snap like a control arm in half, you're not going to JB Weld that thing back together again, right?
I was considering JB Weld and bottle rocket when we were at the track. I really was.
So you fill in the
whole bushing fill. Yeah. The only problem is it would have taken longer for it to cure than we could have been there, right? So.
Led Zeppelin Werewolf Girl 73. Hello, Uncle Tony from Sochi, Turkey. Formula One track.
I've been to Sochi.
Have you?
I have. I was on a ship there that ran aground there in 2014.
Get out of here.
Yeah, we got stuck there for like a month and a half. But if you want to talk about weird, that place is a little weird. I'm not going to lie. It's not your run-of-the-mill port visit.
Why is that?
The drinks were expensive. The place you could drink was only like a few places.
Okay.
And they'd have Wi-Fi, but it was literally like an abacus on a string, right? I mean, you couldn't use it. So this person that's sitting here watching our show from Sochi, Turkey, they're probably they got the most ripping Wi-Fi that there is, probably.
Well, they're at the Formula One track. You know that's got to be.
Oh yeah, that probably
top of the line stuff.
Yeah,
probably Formula One.
JB welded cam lobes. That might fix the camshaft issues.
I think they might be made out of JB Weld. Tom Hughes says you were driving the radar when it ran aground.
Nah, I was actually asleep when it ran aground. I didn't even know.
Led Zeppelin Wolf Girl says, ouch, it is weird. You're right. The track looks like it belongs in IndyCar. Okay. Love turkey. I like honey roast. I like honey roast turkey. I'm not crazy about just like regular turkey.
This is your captain speaking. It was a 30 thousandths is what I know of, not a 16th inch drill bit or an 1/8 inch. I think it's, if anything, it'd be probably a 16th, but I think it's 30 thousandths. Travis Wright says, Tony and Buick assistant.
Buick assistant.
What would win if you took a 440 versus a 455 Buick, both built with the same compression cam specs? Oh, I don't know.
They'd be right on top of each other. If you built a 440 Mopar and a 455 Buick, and you built them identically, right? And by that I mean like you had somebody really optimized the camshaft profile to work with the porting of each engine. I think it's you flipped a coin. They're equally.
I think the only thing that happened was as you're racing them side by side, the Buick would eat the mains at the top end. That'd be about the only thing.
Well, yeah, or it would drive the camshaft down into the.
No, it just chewed the teeth right off the distributor.
Just Jesse, Uncle Tony, have you had many dirt track rounding around experiences? I have had none. Not that I wouldn't love to. I just haven't had that influence in my world. You should build a dirt track car.
No.
Okay.
The last thing I need is more problems to throw my money at. So Travis Davis is saying, thinking of swapping either a Buick 3800 turbo or doing a 4.3 turbo into my 94 Toyota pickup. Which one would make more power? That's a tough call because that 4.3 actually naturally aspirated was pretty meaty for being what it was.
I think you're going to run into. Correct me if I'm wrong, right? But wouldn't it finding a rear wheel a rear drive 3800?
Oh no, they came out in any 3800 has that 60-degree V6 bell housing
right
after 87.
Yeah, so
right?
Finding a compatible transmission for
thing.
rear-wheel drive would be difficult.
Not anymore. In 1996, Chevrolet started putting those 3800s in Camaros and Firebirds.
Oh, that's right.
And then the Trailblazer had those same transmissions hooked to the 4200 Atlas. And so you could make a rear-wheel drive one no problem all day long.
I would lean towards the 4.3 only because I actually really happen to like those motors. I've had a lot of good 4.3 experiences over the years. But yeah, man, it's like flip a coin. Either one's gonna be.
I like the Buick, and it's because I'm biased.
Yeah,
but also there was no Grand National that came with a 4.3 liter turbo, and I'm sorry, the Cyclones just didn't cut it compared to that Grand National. So,
oh, that's true.
But here's what's funny. Adam Stein says Buick's rotator weighs a ton compared to a 440. Adam, you are wrong, mister.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, the Buick is lightweight.
Yeah, the 440 is all beef.
You fellas should find a used legend car, motorcycle powered.
That would be fun.
You know what I think would be even cooler is if we took that Legend's body and we made our own, because it's like what, 1/3 or no, it's bigger than that. 2/3 scale of a regular body.
I don't know what the scale is, but
they're smaller. 7/8 scale, maybe. I don't know.
No, much smaller than 7/8 scale.
But we should make a street freak out of that, and then make it look like an old school gasser, except for the Hemi would be even crazier sticking out of it, right?
Well, it would be like one of them Rat
Matchbox
Fink
car. Yeah, a Rat Fink car for real.
Yep. Okay. Wow. Yeah, Fred Gomez. So if you're an old team, now I got a bike, all my old bike stuff comes back, right? Fred Gomez had a 283 that kept fouling a plug. Ran a hotter plug in it, still fouled. Old school neighbor cut the plug wire and put a plastic button in between. The spark jumped the gap. No more fouling plug. Yes. If what happens is when you make a spark jump a gap, it amplifies the spark. So that's what he did. If you're into like let's say old Brit bikes, the only way to get those things to start after you tickle them and you don't quite get it the first time, you got to pull those plug wires halfway off so that the metal contact is just off the plug, then kick it and they'll start right up. And you got to let it run for a minute or so before you put the plug wires back on. So the downside of that though is that it will burn the wire on either side of the gap. So like for instance, let's say you foul the plug on one of your car engines, like you've got going on there, and you pull the plug wire just off the plug, so you force it to jump the gap. It'll run and it won't foul the plug, but it will overheat the wire and it'll burn the wire. So that's the downside to that.
So there's two here. Matt Ubel says, have you ever put 1 6 rockers on the intake and 1 5 rockers on the exhaust? Does it change anything?
I've never done it.
That's a Chevrolet trick, right? And all it does is create a dual pattern cam, I believe.
Yeah, more or less, yeah.
Right. So, and if you look at most performance cams, most of them are dual pattern now because of that. But on a Chevrolet, generally on any engine, you increase the rocker size, the ratio size, you get more lift, and you get, what is it, 2 degrees more duration for every 0.1.
I don't remember what the formula. Tom Muse would no doubt know exactly what the ratio would be.
Yeah, and then Denkin says, I want to know what each. I lost it. All right. My favorite engine, though, out of all the ones I've screwed with, is probably that 300 that I did just not too long ago. The 300 Buick surprised the hell out of me.
It's a beautiful motor.
It was one mean bastard when I fired it up. Oh my gosh, did it rev so fast? But it has everything going for it, right? Like the mains on a 350 Buick are 3-inch, like a 351 Windsor, right? Mm-hmm. But it's got 2.5-inch mains like a 302.
Okay.
And then I put 6.4-inch long rods out of a Buick 350 in it.
Okay.
It had 305 Chevy pistons that were flat top. The Buicks never came with a flat top piston. They were all dished. So when I put a flat top in it, a flat top is more efficient piston than any other design, right? Because it's applied evenly. The explosion's applied evenly on the piston. That thing revved so fast, and it sounded so mean. I really want to do more of them. I want to do more 300 Buicks. They're just so hard to find intake manifolds and stuff for. Dick goes in you.
Dick goes in you. How would increasing the rocker ratio increase duration?
Well, I was always just taught that every 0.1 is like 2 degrees because the rocker still, I guess, is because of the ratio, it moves faster, right?
Okay, you take a duration from 50, right? 50 happens quicker if you increase the ratio.
Okay.
So it would be a small increase.
Right.
In other words, okay, so the actual opening and closing points wouldn't change. But if you're measuring duration at 50, that would change because you're opening the valve quicker. You're getting past 50 quicker in crankshaft degrees. So that's how it would alter the ratio. It would be tiny. It would be, I mean, like in really almost immeasurable, but that's how it would increase your duration.
And Jungle Jim is saying here 1.6 adds about 3 to 4 degrees duration over 1.5, which I've always heard just 2, but which may have been conservative. I don't know.
Tom Muse says low lift times ratio gives you a new increased lift for every 250 thousandths lift is 2 degrees of total duration. But do you agree with what I'm saying, Tom? Do you agree with what I'm saying? It's not the actual duration. Because the lifter is coming on the ramp at the same point on either side of the lobe, okay? But
it's happening quicker.
The duration at 50 is going to be altered because you're moving off the base circle onto the lobe quicker. I guess Don, when the English popped in.
Well, John Wilburn's saying absolute duration wouldn't change, but you'd get more area under the curve, including duration at 50,000.
Now, you see, John Wilburn agrees with me, and therefore I am right. Done. Let's drop this topic and move on to something else.
Some guy saying, his name is some guy, right? Buick man, have you ever built a 215? No, but I have one.
He has one. He has a very nice one.
Yeah, we need to get it. I need to get that sucker. I've been thinking about doing all the old school tricks to it. They say throw 300 heads on them. Well, guess what? I have a set of 300 aluminum heads.
I think we should tear it down. What are you doing tomorrow?
I can't do it tomorrow.
You can't do it tomorrow?
There's no way.
Okay.
No, I got an event this weekend.
All right. Well, I think we should tear that motor down and make a video out of it.
I think we should put it back together and put it on a start stand and put it up for sale and make a video out of that.
The wrench duration doesn't change. Advertised duration doesn't change, but duration at 50 would change. John Bossum's reason for eating original cam bearings. Mopar 360 runs fine otherwise. Probably core shift in the block. Which is why I try to avoid, as I've had that. You know, I got burnt by that a couple of times during the course of my life. I did an engine. Everything was fresh, brand new, right? Okay, tanked it. Okay, now new cam bearings and everything, and you find it like it worked, and it spins the cam bearing. I've had that happen twice, and ever since the second time, and I realized what was going on, because it's just core shift through the block, which is kind of normal.
Jungle Jim's telling me to put a 300 crank in that 215. And I don't have another 300 crank, and they're not easy to come by because a lot of 215 guys have nabbed them up. Oh, Jason Fitch says sell it as donations towards AHRA to get more than it's worth.
You could do that too.
Matt S says Dallas built a Harley Fat Boy, but with a 215 instead of a small block Chevy. That would be cool.
I have a visitor over here. Guy came to buy a truck.
Okay.
You want to hold down the fort for about 5 minutes? So we just go.
Sure.
Okay. I'm gonna roll a cigarette.
Oh, is this the Cherokee?
Yeah.
It's gone.
Well, you didn't want it.
No, that's fine.
Yeah.
I did want it originally, but then I got too many projects.
I know, that's my problem too. I got way too many things, and it's a nice truck, but it's not going to fit the content. I'm not going to be able to make the content that I need.
You just need to do a motor swap and flip on it.
Well,
Hemi Head 68 says here's $4.99 for getting rid of that Cherokee.
thank you, Hemi Head. Okay, I will be right back.
Aluminum 215 and a Buick Regatta. Or Regatta? Let's see. Yeah, Tony actually sold one, which is not normal for Tony. Let's see. Douglas Feeler says core shift be corrected, or does the price just go up? Line bore custom cam. No, you don't. You won't need a custom cam. If anything, you just need some machine work. A line bore, maybe, but normally you can knock some new cam bearings in it and they'll be okay. All it is that the motor is settling where it needs to be. After the thousands of heat cycles it goes through, it settles out. It's best to do machine work on them after they've already settled like that, though. Yes, John Wilburn, the white 94, it's gone. Or he's trying to get rid of it. Yeah, all of the Regatta was front-wheel drive. And in my personal opinion, would probably be the wrong thing for a 215. I'm still leaning towards the Opel. If I can find myself an Opel GT or a Cadet, I'll try that one. Curtis Randolph, you're asking what I did to get that 455 in my Suburban. Well, it was actually pretty easy, to be honest with you. Those trucks were built with a diesel Oldsmobile engine. And the diesel Oldsmobile engine, the frame mounts are different than a Chevrolet. So they drilled all the cross members to have multiple bolt patterns in them, which makes the square body Chevrolet trucks and GMC trucks as well pretty much any engine swappable in the GM inventory. So all I did was put the frame mounts on the factory motor mounts in the Buick big block, dropped it in there, hooked up to the tranny, bolted the tranny in place, and I see where the frame mounts fell, and I actually had to flip them backwards from one side to the other, but it fell right into place. Let's see. Tom Muse. Dallas, does the Buicks use combined pedestal holder for every pair of rockers like Olds? They do on the 215, 300, and 340. On the 350, it's a little bit different. They're cast into the head. And I don't know if a Chrysler's like that or not. So Hollywood 00 is asking me, do I have any plans to take the AHRA north of the border into Canada? I'm actually open to anywhere, as long as we can come there and put on an event. So I have no problems with Canada. I'd love to go up that way. I've never been up that way. 215 heads were tiny. Just use a V6 if you want it light, or get a North Star or Aurora. I don't know that 215 heads are tiny, but they're only fitting 215 cubes. Okay. All right. New city carpet. Dallas, can you guys please touch on low tension piston rings and ring coatings? Okay, for stock rebuild, mild strip use. All right. So when you're talking low tension piston rings, it's normally just an oil ring that's your low tension ring. They will consume a little bit more oil just because they're not pressed against the cylinder wall like normal. They're just a little bit lighter tension. So you will see a little bit of oil burn, but hopefully it's the gains in power that you're after. If it was a street strip machine, I definitely wouldn't do low tension oil rings. Low tension oil rings are something that you go after normally when you're going for every ounce of power, like a stock eliminator car. Okay, for stock rebuild, mild strip use, I wouldn't use low tension oil rings on a stock rebuild. Ring coatings, I believe those are phosphorus is what they're coated with, and those are good for stock rebuild and mild street strip use. That phosphorus coating that they put on there is it helps with initial ring break-in and wear and tear on initial startup when the cylinder wall doesn't have that much oil on it. I always put them in. I dunk the piston in oil, old school style, and put it in. I've never had a problem. But I have used those phosphorus coated rings, and they do work really well. I haven't had any problems with them not seating. Okay, best truck to pull camper non-diesel. Oh, Wilfredo Mendez. I just did a Buick big block in something. And I'm telling you, it makes me smile just as much as as my 7.3 Power Stroke did, and it runs on 87 octane gas. So I really like the Buick big block in a truck. I think that's probably what it should have came in. I would assume that a Cadillac 500 was the same way. I know the Cadillacs would get awesome mileage going down the road because they used all that torque to pull themselves down the road at an optimal cruise RPM. But I think 500 Cadillac in a truck. Dankin, what makes Buick so significant to me? I got piles of them. My dad was big into Buicks, and then when he passed away, I had piles of them that I inherited that I didn't necessarily want, but I decided to use them in just wherever I could, and I've grown to really like the things. And plus, I've built stroker small block Fords that I tried to have the same amount of torque as a Buick motor, and it's a letdown. I feel sorry for Chevrolet and Ford guys that literally had no idea what real torque is all about. Do Buicks cure heartbreak? I would say yes. Yeah, heartbreak. Let's see. A Triton V10 is more than enough to pull through mountains, sure. And they're actually not bad on fuel, but they are based off the modular. Okay, do you know if you can get good power on lower performance heads on a Chevy 402? Heads are 71 to 75, 402. Well, okay, that's funny that you bring that up on Dakota, which I'm surprised you haven't been timed out yet. But here is something. I want to say Richard Holdner did an episode where he took peanut port 454 Chevrolets, which have to be horrible compared to your 402 heads. The 402 is virtually just the truck 396, and I would have to say you can probably get really good performance out of those things. But the peanut ports that Holdner did, he got big time numbers out of them. I do like my 455 Buick gets about 7 miles a gallon. Oh, you need to really tune that thing because mine and my Suburban will get 14. Stagger proof. Dallas ever heard of English Mountain Dragway in Newport, Tennessee? Not sure if it's open anymore. If so, maybe a place for an event. I don't know. I'd have to contact them. I have never heard of that one. And it may be gone. I don't know. And I do love diesels, guys. Don't get me wrong. I love diesels. That 7.3 Power Stroke. Pentastar, I've never had an Olds 455. So I couldn't tell you. Well, actually, I take that back. I had two. One that didn't run and another one in a 65 F85. And I just wasn't all that impressed. But it was performance motor and it just was not set up right. Did not have the right cam.
Oh, the white XJ is now gone.
No, he's not smoking. He's selling his white XJ.
I just sold the truck. Let's see.
Did you show him like, hey, there's an easy way to put oil in this? I'll give you one of the Uncle Tony's garage funnels.
I should have. No, Zero. I'm here already. Here I am.
Paul Shea says he's out of his
He's on his bike, right? Yeah. I'll be right back. I need to take a spin. Today, I woke up this morning. It was pouring rain. I was like, well, I gotta wash the bike anyway. So I run around with it in the rain. Then it cleared up. I gave it a nice bath and zipped around. Yeah, I can't.
Well, you got your off-road version one, right? What's that one called again?
I don't have an off-road. I only have one bike.
No, your off-road Jeep.
Oh yeah, I still have two Cherokees. I have the limited with the leather seats and all that other shit, and I have the Eep Hero, which has got a 6-inch lift and 33 tires. And
all right, Riata had a tunnel
for rear-wheel drive transmission, but was front-wheel drive. What does Tony think about the 305 motors from a 340? I always thought about, well, that was only done to make it legal for Trans Am competition, and then later on they used it for NASCAR.
The D-stroke 340s.
Right. That when they used the 305 in oh God, I can't remember which one it was. See what happened was NASCAR for 71. NASCAR banned the Hemis in the wing cars, and they said if you can run a wing car if you want, but you can only use 305 cubic inches. So they took a Keith Black Trans Am 305 and stuck it in a Daytona body, or maybe it was a Superbird body. I don't remember which one it was. And actually, you led the Daytona 500 with it.
I remember that year, and that's when they finally just started putting all the weight on them.
Yeah,
that body. Like you are no longer allowed to use this body unless you carry X to the X pounds. Adam Culbertson says, "Did you put a UTG sticker on the Cherokee you just sold?"
Kathy just gave him some stickers. Kathy's out there working the deal.
You should have put the stickers over all the oil.
Jazzy Acid, Tony, I love the hero videos. When are we going to see more? I'm looking for a carburetor to replace one of my AMC 258, which I consider when looking for one. So far, I'm thinking Motorcraft. You'll see it soon. I've got a couple of off-road guys coming on Sunday. We're going to have lunch and talk about getting together for a ride. I still got to put a front drive shaft in it, believe it or not. Simplest thing in the world. They just haven't gotten to the boneyard to pull a drive shaft yet. But yeah, soon on that. As far as the carburetor, use the Chrysler BBD, Carter BBD, or for Chrysler like a 318, bolts right onto that 258.
That's what I was actually just going to ask. What was on there to begin with? Because it might be a simple swap.
Yeah, but don't use the Jeep. Listen to me, right? Don't use the Jeep BBD. It's a bad carburetor. It's electronic feedback. It's got all kinds of weirdness going on inside of it. Use like from a 1971, 72, 73, 318. That's the carburetor you want to bolt on that. Joe K is saying just run a Bluetooth drive shaft on the front. I don't think Bluetooth technology has actually gotten that far yet. I don't think you can transfer much torque through a Bluetooth. Can you?
Well, if you're using the cable.
Well, Jason Fitch, Kathy is going to take that guy for everything he brought in his dog. No, we gave him a really good deal on it. We sold to him really cheap. It's actually going to be his daughter's first car. He's got a 16-year-old daughter. She's out there. She loves this thing. So, yeah. John Wilburn, why does the Eve Hero not have a front drive shaft? Because the previous owner El Kabonged it. I have the drive shaft.
But it broke the frame, right?
The frame is broke. I welded the frame. The frame's all fixed. I welded an angle iron in there.
Somebody was asking about a flexi shirt. When are you going to have flexi shirts?
We haven't thought about that yet.
I'm telling you, that'd be the simplest shirt ever because you just make a square box with lightning bolts around it, right?
That's not a bad idea. Well, the next one we're doing is going to be Embrace the Suck.
Embrace the suck.
Embrace the suck. Dan's Garage, $4,000 dyno. That's the David Bizarre thing. Yes, I have to get with him. Richard Brickhouse won with the 305 Superbird. Daytona? And I thought it was Brooks, not Brookhouse, Brooks.
Oh. Saab Life 190 says, what do you guys think about the Chrysler Conquest and Mitsubishi Starion? I own an 87. Any timing suggestions?
I think they're cool cars, but I don't know enough about them to give you any type of. That's something
I've never owned one. I'll tell you what. I street raced one time. I actually just passed one, and he kept passing me.
Okay.
Right, and then tried to pass. And my 350 Buick and a Regal.
Okay.
2-barrel carburetor. Shit you not. This thing had a 255 gear. I don't know what top speed would go because it stopped at 85.
Right.
You could take it all the way completely down to the bottom. That thing pulled up next to me. We were flying, and it blew all the rods out. So it can't be that awesome.
Matt S. I used my Chicago 125 welder and made a heavier duty battery hold down on my 84 D150. Came out pretty good. Yeah, that's the nice thing about, like the cheap flux core welders. It's just like, you can just fabricate any little thing you want like that. You're not going to get beautiful, perfect welds. You'll get solid, good welds, and you can fabricate and like there's no barriers, man. It takes all the barriers away. New City Carpet. Thank you, sir. Dowson UT, jetted my Carter AFB from 91s to 98s. Performance improvement, mileage went from 9 miles to the gallon, from 15 miles to the gallon. No other changes as expected. So you picked up 6 miles per gallon by jetting up. And that's because the engine has to work less. Like, in other words, you have to give it less foot to accomplish to get the work done.
He said it got worse. It went to 9 miles a gallon from 15. Yeah, you might have it a little fat.
You sure you didn't do something else when you did that? Going from 91 to 98 is not going to lose you 6 miles to the gallon. Well, just think about this for a second. Think of the difference in size between a 91 and a 98 jet. Okay,
7,000.
7,000. You couldn't suck that much gasoline through over the course of, Did that make any sense? So you did something else. Perhaps the drop rods are not seated into the jets or something along those lines.
It's a Carter, right?
Yeah.
I wonder. So doesn't the drop rods, don't they sit on a power piston's got a spring on it, right? Yeah. I wonder if this thing is when he went up in jet size, but left that weak little spring in that sucker.
Wouldn't make any difference.
It would be sluggish.
No, that spring size is only going to react to idle.
Well, it's just vacuum, engine vacuum.
Yeah.
Going down the road, cruise speed as well.
Okay. At idle, the vacuum is holding them down. As soon as you touch the gas,
it's got one spring on each side on an AFB, right? Not like a thermoquad where it's all.
Check your drop rods. I'll almost guarantee when you put it back together again, you missed one of the jets with the drop rod, and that'll give you that. Now, I have seen it, and I've done it myself, where you'll increase the jet size and pick up gas mileage. And a perfect example of that is your 1970s slant sixes. They're jetted so freaking lean that if you take a I forget which number it is now, but you take a number drill set and you drill the main jet on that, just about 3/1000 of an inch over what it was, and you pick up gas mileage because it takes less foot to accomplish the same work. So, but yeah, I would check your drop rods, because that increase in jetting absolutely cannot physically on its own drink that much more gas. That volume of fuel couldn't fit through in that amount of time.
The Starlings and Conquest were pretty cool, the cars, though.
Don here from Cleveland still. Mother's doing fine. Excellent. It's the administration is screwing us up. Nice to see everybody. I'm glad your mom is good, man.
D. Scaglione says that's my trophy in the back. It was one that I got with the AHRA. That's Pete. Actually, I should probably call it the Jim Tice. The Jim.
Paul WV update on Bottle Rocket. We were supposed to run Plan Z this last weekend. It rained out the weekend. We're going this weekend. We're going to make a run with Plan Z, and then the next week is Bottle Rocket. Brian Campbell, when are you going to go full send on the Jeep again? Soon.
You want to get that drive shaft in there, right? Four-wheel drive
Yes.
style.
Yes. Before I go with the Jeep people to go, to do all that cheap stuff.
Yeah. Off-road stuff.
Right.
Stuff where your cameras don't work.
Hank Reardon, I'd love to see a Magnum 5.9 and an XJ. You know what? You look at like the 95 or 96 Grand Cherokee that came with a 5.9. They're really not that much different than the first generation Grand Cherokee. Really wasn't that much different than the XJ. They're essentially the same vehicle. A couple of inches here and a couple of inches there, and just a few pounds. So they're not worth a 5.9 swap into an XJ really wouldn't be that unique, because those Grand Cherokees weren't that much different.
So Jamos Hot Rod saying we need AHRA in Michigan. Go talk to Sloan's Onondaga Dragway. I'd like to work with those guys.
Let's see.
Dutch Vornik, is that what that says?
Dutch Vornik.
I swapped a 216 Stovall for a 350 Chevy in a 51 Chevy 6400. Picked up 3 miles a gallon.
Well, sure. Mike, did you do anything different with the lifters on Bottle Rocket? I have adjustable rockers for it. I'm going to be doing a whole video on converting those roller lifters over to solids.
So you're gonna bottom them out, right? You're just gonna bottom them out. I thought about this, and I don't think you can do that because you got to set lash on them.
Thank you. Exactly. You hit it right in the head. So what I'm going to do is this is some of the lifters, right? I know like Thomas saying, I'm either going to do washers or pull a spring out and see how stable that cup is at the bottom. If the cup sits solid at the bottom,
JB Weld those.
I have to take the lifter apart and see what it looks like inside.
That'd be kind of cool if you could JB Weld them. Hey, you having lifter issues that they're garbage? Add some Uncle Tony's Garage gray matter. Oh yeah, I know they're all IHRA. I've tried to get in there quite a few times. Bob Ganshaw is saying 4 tracks up here, all IHRA. I'm assuming that's Michigan.
Let's see.
He said, Jungle Jim says, Crown or solid lifters have hydraulic lifter bodies. I don't think there's really that much of a difference between them.
Like I said, I'm going to take it apart. I get like a lot of people, including Tom Hughes, said, well, just bottom out the lifter and do it like that. But like he says, I can't get a lash adjustment out of it. And I can't in clear conscience run a flat top it or a solid cam and not have at least 10, 15,000 slash. I don't know how much slash it's going to want, but I know I got to do some, you know what I mean?
Well,
something like that.
Dennis has a good point here. Just buy solid lifters, really not that expensive.
Solid rollers are going to set me back $500.
Are they really?
Yeah.
Man, that's a lot.
Yeah.
For just the lifters?
Yeah. Have you priced these things lately?
No. The last set I bought was probably 10 years ago.
David Carter, what do we think of panheads? I think they're pretty cool. I've never owned one. Worked on a couple, but I've never owned one. Let's see.
Oh, Jungle Jim's saying there's not a big market for solid rollers, so they are expensive. So it's just the race guys using them because you don't normally street drive those.
Most people don't. I have solid rollers in my '68 Roadrunner.
I'd like to solve this for $0. You know?
Well, yeah.
I think that would be ideal.
I'm going to take it apart, and my choices are because I'm going to remove the spring. I want an honest lash adjustment, right? So I'm going to remove the spring one way or the other, and then my choice is going to be either leave the spring out and let the cup go to the bottom. Okay. But I don't know if the cup, I don't know what the bottom of it looks like. I don't know how it's contoured. So I can't be certain that without the spring supporting it, centering it, that the push rod won't make it want to cock one way or the other.
The other thing is that you got adjustable rockers, right?
Right.
You're going to have that thing screwed all the way down,
Right.
really messing up some of the geometry of that push rod.
Well, again, like I said, I got to take it apart and actually see what I'm dealing with in there. But stacking it with washers is something that I've thought about.
Right, but something that would only give you like maybe 10 thousandths a play or something, you know.
Right.
It'd be easy.
Well, I would get an honest lash adjustment out of it.
Right, that's what you need. Yeah. And that's why washers is good because once you shim the first one, the rest of them are going to be the same as whatever you shim the first one with, right? 6 more washers.
AJ, S&S makes washers for the Harley lifters to make it work. I know that. I know.
Tall Garage is saying, ask for a sponsor for lifters. Your channel is big enough. Yeah, but that's not the way he wants to go. He wants to do everything. So that way he's not. And so the way this works, guys, is this community is if Tony wants to take on a sponsor, he'd have to plug their stuff with like good thumbs up, right? And if they honestly sold you a bunch of junk, don't you want to be able to say, hey, that was junk?
Right. I don't take free parts from anybody. And anytime I call a manufacturer about parts, I tell them who we are. But I also tell them, listen, if you want to give me a deal, right, sell to me at Jobber, but I don't want free parts. So generally, that's what happens. I'll get a little bit of a deal. You know, I'll pay Jobber instead of retail, and that's it. But I'm paying for those parts. I do not take free parts. I don't take free anything. Tom Hughes, you could fill the base of the lifters with neoprene high-strength silicone, keep the plunger stable. That's an interesting idea, and it would block off oil. So that's the other thing too. I want to limit the amount of oil that's able to get through that because that engine oils through the rockers. So I don't need any oil coming into the lifter. I don't need any oil going up the push rod. In fact, I took those push rods that are in there and I welded them closed.
Aren't they solid? Oh,
No, they were oil through push rods.
Oh.
So I actually welded the ends of them closed.
But it's still oiling through the head, though, right?
Yeah, oils through the head.
Okay.
Let's see. Can you pack the lifters with JB Weld? You know, I guess you probably could.
Well, that's what I was saying, but I think I don't know if I'd want to do it on an expensive set of lifters. I'd like to try it out on something else that's.
Yeah, I think the thing I'm going to do is just stack them with washers. I think that's probably how I'm going to go about it.
I guess retrofitting hydraulic rollers out of the. It's already got hydraulic roller in it, a retrofitted hydraulic roller setup.
Right.
But it's bleeding down. And that's what's causing it to break rock arms.
Not only that, but I'm not getting full lift. I will guarantee they're not pumping completely up because they're so you shut the engine off and they're instantly soft. Like it's like they're not fully pumping up. So no, I don't want to deal with this shit. I've never in my life played with hydraulic rollers. I have solid rollers obviously with the drag cars, we had solid rollers in the fuel cars. I actually used flat tappets for a long time. We had solid rollers in all the fuel cars and the Hemis, and in my 68 Roadrunner, I've got solid roller in that. I've never messed with hydraulic rollers before. So I figured, let me do this because it's the cheapest way to go about it. Not because my cheapness, but if you're following along at home, you can use the stock rockers. You don't have to do any of that stuff. It's a relatively simple, but it was not a good idea. It was a mistake. I should have just gone with solid rollers and adjustable rockers to begin with. I made a mistake.
I got your thing for you.
Oh wow, we got a GoPro. Yeah, Uncle Kathy's got us all. No, I don't want to put it on now. I don't want to put it on now. I don't want to do it now. It'll fit.
You get a GoPro head strap on, right? So now you can essentially drive bottle rocket and videotape at the same time.
Yeah. Rocky Myers, could you get a several rollers just late 8318? These blocks, okay, the roller cam 318s have a taller lifter bore, and they have a provision for a spider that holds those lifters in place. So you got the two lifters, and the lifters have like D-shaped tops, and there's what they call a dog bone that fits in between them, and then there's a spider that holds the dog bone down in contact with the lifters to keep them from rotating in the bores. The early 318s don't have any of that stuff. So I wish I could use but I can't. I have to use, Did somebody say Entenmann's? Entenmann's.
Washers will add a ton of weight.
Oil share product for you tomorrow that you can use. All right. Well, so what are you saying, Tom? I fill the lifter with what? And then
JB Weld? Was he the JB Weld guy?
No, I wouldn't trust JB Weld.
No, I wouldn't either. I was joking about that. I just wonder if it would work.
Jason Fitch sounds just like the 507 takes, exactly the same.
Yeah, matter of fact, all the big three did their roller cams that way. That was the cheapest way to go about it.
B Dan 1 2 3 4. The cheapest thing to do is use a roller Magnum short block with the factory roller setup. Yes, absolutely. The price of retrofit link bar lifters might be more than the cost of an entire junkyard Magnum engine. Yes, I agree 100%. But when I started this whole thing, I didn't realize there was a problem with lifters. I came along after, so it's like already got all of this invested into this, all this time invested into this deal. So rather than scrap that and start over again, that's why I went with the link bars.
Here's one right up your alley. Brian Wynn asks, can you build a 426 out of what block and what crank and pistons? And will the 426 heads bolt on the 440, 413, 400, 383?
Oh, Jesus. Mike, wait, can you build a 426 out of what block?
He's just trying to build a 426 wedge motor is what it sounds like. Yeah.
Well,
which you can use a 426 block.
You can use okay, there's a wedge 426 block, which is actually a 90 over
413.
413, right? Good going.
I learned a few things here and there.
But I say 90, it's 70 over 413. So that's 426 wedge block. Or you could put a 440 crank and a 383 block. Now I give you 426 inches too on a low deck. I did a video. Go back, go to search my channel, and I did a video 2 years ago, on putting Hemi heads on a 440 block, Hemi heads on a wedge block, and that answers every single question you can have about putting Hemi heads on a wedge block.
I think he was just trying to do the wedge heads. He wanted to know if the wedge 426 heads would fit on a 413 or 440, and yes, they would.
Well, wedge heads are, those are wedges.
It's the same head. Yeah.
Max wedge, if he's talking about max wedge. When done with one is a 400 crank to a 383? Nothing. They're the same stroke. They're both 3.38 inch. David Coe says that video was great. You could not find any info on putting Hemi heads on a wedge block. Well, thank you. Let's see.
All right, so here you go. Tom Muse is saying Dallas type in smooth on, then smooth cast 57D. It's a semi-rigid plastic for Tony's lifters. Man, semi-rigid plastic. What is it called?
I'll look into that. That could be neat.
Smooth Cast 57D. Why is everybody messaging me now when I'm doing a live? Let's see. Smooth Cast.
Direct Deborah Jack says Smooth On is a fantastic company. I've never heard of them.
I'm looking at it right now. It's pretty interesting.
Is it?
Yeah. Semi-rigid urethane. So you know it's pretty brutal. It's like bowling ball.
Okay,
right?
yeah. How much is
I don't know. I'm looking right now. Gradual cure profile does not snap cure.
the Monster Richards says he's in love with a Mopar girl. Picture it never happened.
It's $190.
Tom Hughes says a small bottle is $40. Is that enough to do 16 lifters?
Oh yeah, he's right. Here's a small one I just found for $33.
Okay.
All I saw was this one first.
But is that enough to do?
It's going to make double, right? So if it's like, say, 24 ounces, it'd be making 48 ounces. And I'm sure 48 ounces is how many quarts? 16 ounces a quart?
I don't know. I'm interested in this. I'll look into that. Oh, that's actually that's a pretty interesting idea.
There was somebody asking about something like Q-Jet. Nate B, does Quadrajet have a vent tube that can be filled with a squeeze bottle? Yes. At the very top. I guess be just forward of the
it's under the air horn.
Yeah. And it's just forward of the damn it. What
the choke?
The stud on top, the whole air cleaner stud. There you go. Gosh, what the hell was I thinking? Uncle Tony and Dallas should be in the next Cars movie. Get her done.
I've never seen any of them.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh wow, my boy was like in love with them when he was like 2 and 3, and then we did the trip on Route 66 because of that.
Starduster Plan Z, is that a 225 aluminum block? No, it's the 1981 through 1987 block, which is cast lighter than the earlier ones. And then I took like another 20 pounds out of it. So it's that block is ground everywhere.
So Mark Twain's Ghost, are all Quadrajets interchangeable? No. You can actually bolt them on.
Yeah.
The problem is going to be getting the fuel line to
yeah.
The other thing is the linkage. If it came with like a turbo 350, it won't fit on generally like a big block. That would have been a 400 only. So the linkage on the turbo 350 one will actually hit the intake manifold.
The biggest difference though is where the fuel inlet comes in, because a lot of them, some of them are straight, some of them are angled. It's a mix, but it's going to made up with the manifold that you've got.
Yep, and that's primarily just where the fuel pump is at on the motor. That's all that is for. And what I found is that, so I have a straight nose one, which is like a Buick and a Pontiac generally have the straight nose. I got one off of a 454 in a boat, and it's straight nose. Yeah, he would probably like Meters Tall Tales. I know you would like that show.
Hollywood Uncle Tony, any front-wheel drive Mopars hidden in the garage? No. I have nothing against them. They're just too hard to find parts for. This is your captain speaking. Says he has his JB Welder's license.
Dude, I'm telling you, we should probably come up with an idea for a shirt that has Fluxy and JB Weld on it, and we'll call it like Slag Hammer the shirt. Or
let me tell you, you know what would be a great video? It's just we should just put JB Weld to all the different tests,
just to see what the shear strength would be, or smack it with a hammer or shoot it with a gun.
Yeah,
Something like
we can
that.
do all that. I get a lot of views. We should do it on your channel.
What, the AHRA channel?
Sure.
Oh, I don't know. Slickline is asking, or Slickline 45, are all AHRA tracks 8th mile? Kind of, sort of. We have 3 in the continental U.S. that are all 8th mile. We have 1 on the big island of Hawaii, but they haven't opened in 2 years because of COVID. So it's quarter mile.
Jason Towery, do you think the AMC 401 was a competitive motor? Donahue Javelin.
Yeah.
But they didn't use the Donahue's Javelin was a Trans Am car. They didn't use a 401.
That was the 304.
Yeah, it was a 304.
But the 401 was used in Pro Stock. Well,
Yeah.
a majority of the Pro 401. Because isn't that the motor that they gutted the block? And
They used the what was
390?
The 360. Maskin Canner's car. I think
It was a small block.
I think those are based on 360.
I couldn't remember if they were the ones
or
that,
343s. No, 360s.
I don't know.
Or 343s. I don't know. It was one of the mid-sized motors.
I
It
believe
wasn't
the
a
heads
401.
off of those are very similar to small block Dodge, aren't they?
Well, they both have the dog-like exhaust port. They're close. They're close. Tom Hughes is taking off. Good night, brother man. Thanks for that heads up on the that epoxy stuff.
Dioli says Project Farm did something like that with JB Weld heads on a lawnmower.
Okay.
The Vermonster wants to know if you only smoke Bugler or Mother Nature.
No, I haven't smoked any Mother Nature since I was a kid.
Who did Javelin drag cars? I don't know if they had Javelin drag cars, but I know that they had Hornets. Hornets were the ones I remember.
Well, you
And a
had
Pacer?
you had some okay, you had
I don't remember seeing a Javelin though. You had the Machine, you had the Scrambler.
okay, you had Marv Eldridge ran a Javelin bodied funny car, fiberglass trends, 1968, 1969.
Oh yeah. There was an AMX one too.
Right. Then the AMX was actually a fuel altered that they stuck
Body on.
Yeah, it was a 98-inch fuel altered that they stuck an AMX body on. I can't think of the name of that. Then you had the super stock C cars. There were actually a lot of Javelin and AMX drag cars back in the day.
I was thinking Pro Stock. There was a lot of Javelin used, but I don't think they were ever used Pro Stock. I think it was Hornet, and I think a Pacer.
I would say that they probably didn't use a Javelin in those years, 72, 73.
They were the long ones.
Because of a way crazy long overhang on the nose.
You wanted a compact car, and that's where I think or I got that wrong. It wasn't a Pacer. It was a Gremlin.
They used a Gremlin in the Hornet.
Yeah, Gremlin and Hornet.
Yeah, the AMX ran super stock, right. Okay, let's see. Gremlin Pro Stock. Wait. Oh, wait. Yeah, who ran the Gremlin Pro Stock? That wasn't Wally Booth. That was, oh, God. I don't know. I'm drawing a blank.
Well, I got the power of.
You've got the
internet,
the entire body of human knowledge at your fingertips.
Let me look it up here. Stop going to a porn site. We're going to go to the regular sites. Okay. We're looking at Gremlin Pro Stock. All right. Yeah.
And while he's
Gremlin
doing that,
X.
Fubar put up the link to our merch. Thank you, Fubar. So we've got our shirts, right? We don't have hats anymore, right? But we have shirts. We have new
Wally
design
Booth.
coming out.
Wally Booth.
What's that, Cat? I thought we were discontinuing the hats. Oh yeah, all right, we got a couple of them for sale, but they're like, so. But yeah, we have shirts. We have a new design coming out, right? And we have long sleeve shirts for you guys that need long sleeves.
So Wally Booth did do the Gremlin X.
He did. That's right. The Gremlin X. That's right. The car he had before that was a super stock 446 pack 69 Super B.
He said, "Don't go to the same site where you bought your microphone." I actually bought that one in person at Best Buy. They were a clearance on these things, $40 off. And I'm like, well, me and Tony just need to be heard because that's what everyone bitches about. But now I get a whole bunch of crap because everybody wants to see nice looking black microphone. They want to think, what is it? The black or the berry, the sweet or the juice or something? I don't know.
Mr. Will, UT, what is the purpose of texturing the intake ports like a golf ball? Big Chief showed the small block nitrous motor that his girlfriend is using on her caddy. It keeps the air from sticking to the walls. So because
the fuel.
Yeah, it keeps the air sticks to the wall, the fuel slows down, falls on atomization, and it dribbles in instead of going in atomized. So by texturing the walls, you're keeping the column moving and the fuel in suspension.
Let's see.
Well, Peter Kovacs likes your blue R2D2 microphone.
See, I think we need to do something and spruce him up. I really do.
Well, we could put arms on him and stuff.
That's what I'm saying. We should put a hat on him.
Yeah.
And the whole nine. It has a suction cup base. No, it's actually just a heavy weight. But yeah, if you want to look at it like that, it does. It does have a very silicone phallic kind of shape.
Why would it have a suction cup base?
Because it's a giant dildo, is what he's saying.
Oh, okay.
Holly equipped sticker. Anthony, what is it? Anthony Smithy. I got a Turbo 400 in there.
A Holly equipped sticker.
It says painted orange with an 01 on it. That would be kind of cool. I was thinking we could probably, if we're going to leave it blue, we should B5 blue it.
Oh, it's B7 now.
Is that the new one?
No, it's the lighter color. Like B5 was the darker color. B7 was the later one.
Auto 1303, was I ever able to hot ride when stationed overseas? The only time I got to actually do that and enjoy that, well, there was 2 times. I was stationed in Japan and I got into Tamiya 8th scale RC cars that were gas-powered nitro burners. And, of course, I had the fastest one top speed-wise, but it could not turn. And, unfortunately, they like to turn over there. They would easily run like 70 miles an hour in the day. But then in 2008, when I went to Australia, I crewed for a guy who had a front-engine dragster that was a nostalgia deal. Oh, D. Scaglione saying B7 blue with 43 on it. Would that be kind of cool? And a big wing, like a Superbird wing on the top.
B7 is darker. It looks like B. Oh, you may be right. You may be right. B3 is the lighter. B7 is dark. Okay. All right. Yeah. Sorry, guys.
I'll paint it corporate GM engine smoggy blue.
Well, it already is. Is that the Pontiac? Pontiac model?
I don't know. This is more like a periwinkle. This is like a purpley blue. That's why I thought, like, have you? I know you don't see a lot of movies, but did you ever see
early 60s Pontiac motors with that color?
Did you ever see Snatch?
No.
Never seen Snatch, huh? Well, there's a part in there. You've never seen that movie? You need to go watch that movie.
I'm not a movie guy.
Oh man,
I've seen maybe 30 movies in my life, and the ones that I like, I've watched 40 times.
You'll like this one.
Okay.
You'll like this one. It's right up there with, like, what's your favorite, like, hold up movie?
My favorite what?
Like hold up movie, like where they hold something up.
What do you mean hold something up?
Like steal something.
I don't have one.
Okay, well, this would probably be it. But it's like, it's a story about 2 guys that get mixed up with these English mafia guys through bare knuckle boxing.
Okay.
And they're doing these illegal bare knuckle boxing matches, and someone steals this diamond that's like as big as your fist.
Okay.
And it runs amok amongst all these guys. But either way, they hire this dude that's like, it'd be like our hillbillies, right?
Okay.
tough. They say he's tougher than a coffin nail, and he only wants one thing to do the fight. He wants a periwinkle blue camper for his mom, right?
Okay.
That's why I said
What's that called now?
snatch.
Snatch.
Yeah, they snatched the diamond.
Zero says it's the greatest movie ever.
It is a good movie.
Travis Wright, Buick assistant. I guess that's your name now, man. Buick assistant. Were you in the Navy? I was a CB construction mechanic.
Yeah, I was in the Navy. I was a sonar tech. And then you were probably at CBC Gulfport or what's the other one on the West Coast? I was at Gulfport from 2002 to 2005.
Donna LeBreton is saying the Pontiac Blue is more silverish. You're looking at it from this side with the lights on it, and I'm looking at it from this side, and it's actually it is more silverish.
So David Coe is asking what's the movie called? Snatch. Pikeys. Yeah, that's right. Pikeys.
Yeah, the Buick Whisperer.
My dad was a CB. He was a retired CB, and that's why I ended up in Gulfport.
12 Garage G's, $422 for 318 solid roll. Yeah, I told you, man, they're not cheap. They're not cheap. King of the Mountain is the greatest movie ever, other than California Kid. Man,
I don't think I've seen either one of those.
I remember seeing California Kid when it came out. Like, what was it when it came out? It was a made-for-TV movie back in like 1975.
Maybe that's what it was. Greg, what is it? Furneck. I'm sorry if I butchered your name. He says the dog that ate the diamond was snatched. So maybe that's where they got the name for it, because he eats the diamond.
The greatest movie of all time was Die You Zombie Bastards, followed closely by Monty Python and the Holy Grail.
Oh,
Those are the two greatest movies ever.
I love that. I love the Monty Python and the Holy Grail. He's with a flesh wound. That dude's standing there like literally a head with a body. No, I do like Duel as well, but
You know, what was another one? Another good one was Raising Arizona. You ever see that one?
I have. That was Nicolas Cage, right?
Yeah, that was a good movie.
First movie that he did. You know, like I have a different list of good movies. You ever seen Secondhand Lions?
No, see, I can't. Okay, see, here's my problem. Is I was born without suspension of disbelief.
I don't know what that even means.
Suspension of disbelief means that you can watch a movie and like get into the story, right? But and your mind will imagine that it's real, and so you can follow it, right? But I don't have that. Like I watch a movie and I see them acting.
Oh, right. Okay, so you can't put yourself in their shoes.
I can't.
Okay, so yeah, movie might not be good for you. You'll like Snatch though.
See, for me, movie has to be like satirical, over the top.
That's how Snatch is like that. It's odd. You don't have to watch it. It's an odd movie. Did you have you seen any Guy Ritchie movies?
No.
Like Smoking Aces?
The Wrench likes Raising Arizona too.
Kingpin.
Jim Jones saw Holy Grail at the theater when it was first released. It means I could never watch professional wrestling. Nah, I never got that stuff. The dog kept eating things and everybody told it no snatch. Okay.
Bullet's good too. I do like Bullet.
Jason Fitch says that lack of suspension is relatable. Yeah, like I watch a movie, right? And like I just see them acting. It's like I don't like it's weird. It's hard to explain. I just don't enjoy them.
We're on a mission from God. That's what, I like the original Blues Brothers. I don't care who you are. That's a pretty good movie.
That was a good movie. I'll give you that. But again, see, it's over the top.
Right.
Because it's over the top, I can get into it. But you get movies that actually like you're supposed to follow along like a serious plot. I can't.
Well, and it doesn't matter in a Guy Ritchie movie because they're going to twist it on you so bad it's going to screw up your brain. And that's what he does.
Getting back to cars, Dalton Sweezy, $10. Thank you, sir. That's the 10 I needed.
For the microphone?
No, I'm over the top now. That's the 10 I needed.
All right.
Okay, 65 Caterpillar 429 Cadillac has to warm up about 2 minutes for training to go into gear. Pump. Vacuum issue fluid is good. How can I eliminate the vacuum window set? I don't know about the vacuum window set.
65. It's turbo 400. It's switch or it's ST 400.
Yeah.
Oh man, you're looking at pulling the tranny out and pulling the pump out of it and rebuild the pump.
It's probably the pump. Probably the pump.
You can try the vacuum modulator because that will keep them from going into gear.
Vacuum window set.
Actually, no. It won't keep them from going into gear. It'll go into first or reverse. It just won't come out of first. It won't shift to second.
What,
If the
goes
modulator's bad.
Oh no, if the modulator's bad, yeah. Well, it'll shift to second, but it'll shift to second at like way past.
Yeah.
And a lot of times when the modulator goes bad, they rupture and you'll get a lot of white smoke. It looks like a bad head gasket.
Because it's sucking fluid. Right.
Yeah. But no, generally like a weak pump will give you.
Man, that sucks too because I just did that in the Suburban. I just did it.
Let's see. The diaper one in Raising Arizona is the funniest thing I've ever seen. I cannot stop laughing through the whole thing. Yeah, there were a couple of scenes in that movie. I don't remember which ones they were, but I remember just like absolutely falling out watching it.
I like the Mars Attacks is good too. I don't know if you saw that one. I like The Thing, the original. I don't know about if it's the original, the John Carpenter one. Did you ever see that one with Kurt Russell?
No.
Oh, that one was good. Do you like horror movies at all?
Not really.
Oh, that one was such a cool movie because you couldn't tell who was who and who it was. So what's going on with the AHRA? What do you need to grow that brand?
We need you to become a member. We need you to join the AHRA. And how do they join the AHRA? Of course, Fubar is going to jump in there with the link, because he always does that because Fubar is on top of everything.
Well, I actually had a group from like a whole bunch of hot rodders they wanted to put their whole club in the AHRA.
There it is. AHRA drag on ahraonline.com. So you go to that link and you send him money and
I send you a membership.
And he sends you a membership. And what do they get for the membership?
Well, you get your membership book on CD, decal, and you can get it with a T-shirt as well.
What a deal!
Yeah, you can get one. With
and how much is a membership?
Well, your basic entry membership is just if you want to be a fan, $35.
$35.
Yeah,
that's free.
Yep, and you get the T-shirt and the decal.
How can you afford to make people a member of this organization for only $35?
Well, I can't really. I lose money on everyone. Really.
Yeah, of course you lose money on everyone. Dallas, you gotta be fair to yourself. I would say a membership to the AHRA should be worth at least $675, $800.
Probably
in that range.
Yeah, not even annually, just weekly.
But I can't believe that. $35.
Yeah.
Be a member of that.
Yeah, for a year.
$35. Yeah. Unbelievable.
Yeah, but no, what I needed to grow, I need Trax. Trax is the big one.
Jim Jungle, lifetime membership? Lifetime. Are you kidding me?
I got them.
It's eternal. It's eternal. No matter how many times you reincarnate, you come back as a member of the AHRA. Isn't that right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, Dalton Sweezy, 65 Cadillac has vacuum actuated windows. I forgot about that. Oh, God. How do you get rid of them? It's not a motor or switch. I know the difficult reason for help. Forums ain't the best. Good God, I don't know.
I have an idea about those.
Go ahead.
65 Cadillac was built on a bigger GMB body platform. Right. I think you should be able to get power windows out of like a Buick Electric 225 or Pontiac Granville.
I think you're going to run into a problem now with the glass. Okay, so what's going to happen?
Those regulators are the same.
The regulator, no, how would the regulator be the same? You got one that's vacuum operated and one
right. Well, you get rid of all you do is get rid of the vacuum operated one and put the power operated one in there.
I will almost guarantee that that is going to be a different because that's the way Caddy did stuff back then, right?
All by
It's going to
itself.
have a unique frame to the window that the holes that are drilled in the glass are not going to line up with anything
Completely
else.
one off.
Yeah, I have no idea what you would do with that, man. I have no idea.
Hollywood 00. What was the last AHRA sanctioned track? Well, when I sanctioned Katy Dragway this year. How long have I been running the AHRA? I'm 4 years in, and I'm looking for a change of pace. No, really, I'm 4 years in, and I think we're just kind of getting things fired up. It's tough as hell because the past 2 years have been nothing but COVID and restricted everything.
All right. So, guys, we're over the 2-hour mark. That's about as far as I can go before my just I'm all talked out. I can't talk anymore.
I'm already pretty wiped out. That is, but Dada LeBreton. I have options on there. You can get one that's a lifetime membership is $800.
Eternal.
Right.
Eternal.
Forever.
Till the sun explodes. You are a member of the AHRA.
I have checked with Mocan Drag Pack Merc. They are an IHRA track, and they literally wanted nothing to do with me. So, did I ever tell you that the AHRA, I did a newsletter for it, right? For like the longest time until I met you, and then we kind of got sidetracked with all this other stuff. And then I had 7 rainouts this year, so I had nothing to write about. But did I ever tell you I did an article on how to keep your enclosed car trailer from being stolen? Yeah, I bought a used car alarm, and I used it to run the electric brakes on the trailer.
Okay.
Right, and it would lock the brakes. You couldn't tow it. Right, and it would just lock, just like you would with the horn.
Travis Davis, thank you, sir. What's he saying there?
Byhalia Raceway in Byhalia, Mississippi is a small track that could use an AHRA event. They are a small local owned and could some help. Well, I guess they definitely could need some help. I don't run around trying to put events on. We try to sanction the tracks, and then we work with the tracks to build events for the track that's going to help them. So it's a little different than what you're thinking with putting on just events. We try to sanction with them so that we can work with them hand in hand.
Okay.
MIR. Yeah, MIR probably will not go AHRA. That's a big track.
All right. So, guys.
Okay.
Our mods, as always, Fubar, John, Ari, Zero. Thank you guys so much. Everybody contribute with Super Chat. Thank you. I think that last $10 really put me over the top.
I'm sure you have enough now to almost retire. You might be able to wash, wax, and gas up the bike.
That's possible.
Yeah.
Everybody contributed just a great conversation. Thank you guys for joining us. I love our people.
Yeah, they're great.
So, okay, we're doing another installment on the AHRA Drag Racing History Channel.
Here's your new T-shirt with a Roadrunner that says Catalina Effin' Wine Mixer. You've probably never seen that movie, huh?
No.
Step Brothers. That is another movie that you would absolutely love. I'm sure of it. If you never, do you like Will Ferrell stuff?
I barely know. He was on Saturday Night Live.
Right. Okay. Step Brothers, one of the most stupid movies ever made, but it's hilarious. If you don't take it as serious, it's hilarious.
John Wilbur saying, "Good night, flamboyant microphone." The Kickendall. He's picking the Kickendall is just getting here, just as we're on our way out.
Yeah, we're heading out. So we'll see you guys next Wednesday.
Yeah, we'll have an installment coming up on the AHRA Drag Racing History Channel coming up like within the next day or two. We'll have something up there. Part 3 of the Funny Car.
No, that's part 3.
Part 4 of the Funny Car history.
Yeah, it won't be within the next day or two.
Okay, but it'll be very soon, right? And what else? I guess that's it, right? Sunday night, our usual show. I'll be talking to Steve Magnanti tomorrow. We're going to be doing another.
What?
Yeah. I got to call Steve. We're going to set up. Maybe we'll do something live.
I love doing stuff with Steve.
Well, you can't do it with him. I'm going to do it with him. You have to do your own thing on your channel with Steve.
I will.
So that's it, guys. Thank you all so much. And I'll catch you tomorrow. Good night.
Good
Good
night.
night, Dallas.
See you next Wednesday.
You're supposed to say good night, Dallas. Good night, guys.